Welcome to video 3 of Objection Handling Level 1. In today's video, we're going to focus on understanding customers' objections and why they can arise from some of the most surprising of places. Before we do, let's take a moment and review what we learned in video 2. Now, we learned to take on this perception shift of the buyer's consultant or the problem-solving ally. And with that comes a real shift within ourselves. You gave yourself a new title, and it felt different as you took on this new perspective, right? Did you notice that the pressure was starting to lift from the prospect, and they began to relax, and you began to relax? And you find yourself becoming much more effective, right? Getting more results. Now, throughout this series, we've said you'll come to realize that there's a yes in everyone. Your job is to find it before you give up. So if there's a yes in everyone, why don't they just come out and say it? Well, the key reason why we find objections that hold them back from what they want, whatever it is that would move them forward in life, can be found in understanding the 5 vital steps to results. Now, we know that all results are a result of an action, and for some people, they're inactions. Putting up an objection is just an action to justify inaction, which is still an action. So we must continue digging. All actions are based on and created by our emotional and mental state at that very given moment. Our mental state, or the thoughts that generate our present mental state, rev up our emotional engine that leads us fired up for action or feeling like the emotional wind has been knocked out of our system. Either way, this directs our action or moves us to put up walls to stop that train dead in its tracks before it moves forward. So what possible emotion can we possibly do and create that will generate inaction faster than any other? Create the customer to feel unsafe. Make your prospect feel unsafe at any moment, and they become the stubborn mule unwilling to budge. Now, this doesn't always look like the mule externally. They may simply say, oh, maybe later. Or worse, they say yes to your face, and then they rescind the sale the first moment they get. An example. In my past, I placed an order with a good acquaintance for a health product. I trusted their experience and knowledge of the product. When it came time to buying, they had answered all of my questions. They had been super patient in the process. They said the price is higher than I thought, but with the promise of greater nutrients and vitality, worth the price. I provided my card number, my address, and so forth, feeling really good. They asked for my social security number. Excuse me, what? Wait. I instantly became the mule. An objection is not simply rejection, as Bo Bennett said. It's simply a request for more information. I'm like, excuse me, why would you need my social security number? And so I got more information about it. I explained that I don't give that information out just like this in such a exchange. And we found another way and found out it was only optional. And then I felt safe again. I could move forward. So processed, done, the product was going to be delivered in 3 days. I got a confirmation email, all good stuff. Then an email verifying an auto shipment placed in my name for the product for every consecutive month. Buyer's remorse instantly set in. I felt super unsafe. Oh my gosh, sale, cancel, 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 cancel. Now we must understand that buyer's objections are not always rational. They are completely emotional most of the time. What often happens is that we push the client to take some action. If the prospect is not to a certain point in the emotional buying process where we want them to be to buy at that moment, then the emotion triggers the ego to stop that process by placing an obstacle or an objection somewhere in the way. Whether the obstacle is valid or not doesn't matter. Make them feel lost or unsafe at any time in the process, and you have started a ticking time bomb that will be a challenge to disarm the longer it ticks. Nothing is more dangerous to a deal than letting sales objections go unaddressed until the final stages. The longer the buyer holds an opinion, the stronger the opinion becomes, and the harder you have to fight to combat it. This is why we must address the emotion that they are seeking to gain or avoid, while also addressing the logical reason why they're there to buy. The key to greasing this process: effective listening and questioning. The best salesperson will be the one that listens and builds enough value that answers the logical and emotional concerns of the customer before they are addressed. Welcome objections rather than avoiding them. Objections just tell you where your prospect may be experiencing some resistance, where they are feeling unsafe. Now that being said, there will still be opportunities where we may have addressed all the customers' posed concerns, but there are other concerns that lie beneath the surface that tend to arise only at the moment of action, during the buy. That is fine. In Objection Handling Level 2, you will learn the key formula to walking gently through these concerns while maintaining a feeling of safety so you don't lose them in the land of emotional fogginess. In conclusion, understanding that the customer's objections can arise from the most surprising of places because they aren't always rational. They are emotional. There is a yes in there. Are we willing to be patient enough to listen, to ask questions, to build the value, emotional value, so that they feel safe enough to buy? This is my challenge to you. Take a moment and write down a time where you didn't buy in an opportunity, and what was the logical reason? And emotionally, why didn't you feel safe to buy at that time? In the next video, we're going to talk about some pre-qualifying questions that we, as buyer's consultants, can use to discover what information they want in order to come in with a winning decision. We'll see you there.